welcome to another edition of Garbage Theater. Tonight's installment, Derailed. I'm your host. I'm your host Chase, and that would be my co-host Blake, and we're also co-host John. Well, let's get this shit show on the road then.
Yes.
Let's do. On the tracks, even.
It already starts.
Jesus. Okay. I picked this movie as a punishment because I had to watch 2 movies last time, and my movie didn't get to be talked about. This was worse than I thought it was going to be. This was next to unwatchably bad.
Well, it not only was it bad, it was just so hard to watch.
If you thought Ninja Terminator was hard to follow, Jesus Christ.
This was hard to follow in a different manner.
This was
just like what was happening.
Yeah.
Visually.
Okay, we know you know how to use transitions on After Effects. We know. You don't have to use all of them. You don't have to use them all.
Oh, God.
This person couldn't decide on a style of editing. It was everywhere. Dissolves.
No, and at one
fades.
point, he just threw it all. Like there was a maybe a minute long sequence that had everything you could possibly throw at it.
Yeah,
but
it was like this movie was never meant to be released. It was left on the cutting room floor. And some guy said, let's practice on this. Let's just do a bunch of weird shit. And then they did it. And then somebody found it and said, hey, somebody finished this movie. Let's put it out.
Yeah, like they gave it to some film students. So see what you can do with this.
And then secretly snuck off with it, having bamboozled them into editing their movie.
Either that or like this is what happens when you give like research monkeys a film and a constant supply of reward grapes when they make a cut.
Oh my God.
That's all I got to do to get a grape. Let me make another one.
This was the first movie where a lot of my notes include like notes about my mental state.
I only have 2 like side notes that describe what I'm gonna read them to you now because I guarantee you y'all are gonna know exactly what I'm talking about when I say them. Okay. So I just have one that just says worst explosion ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there were several times that happened.
And one that says that scream though.
The scream. That was probably my favorite part of the movie. That was the only. That was the only time I felt an emotion other than anger.
Okay, well,
so let's get to it.
We've established that we loved this movie. So,
let me say this too before we get started. I was explaining to my wife yet again the movie I watched, and so I told her, I said, I finished watching that movie. God, it sucks. She's like, are you even surprised anymore? Why do you keep telling me these movies suck? I guess you're right.
Yeah, I have like a very similar experience. There's like no point in telling them that like the movie sucked anymore. Like, yeah, that's the whole point, right?
I showed my wife one scene. It was about, 4 seconds long. It's JCVD. He's standing up on the other side of the room. And the woman he's with is sitting down on the other side of the room. It cuts. She's standing up on the other side of the room. He's sitting down. And then it cuts to a different scene.
Yeah.
And I showed her that. I said, this is what I'm watching. And she just kind of shook her head and looked away from me.
I'll never understand us.
No. Okay. So this thing gets rolling. And first thing I noticed, I didn't know Jean-Claude Van Damme hyphenated his name.
I never noticed.
It was Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Really?
I didn't think he did that. I would.
This is Prime example of one of those times that I really don't give a shit.
Well, the movie opens up to a car driving through the fog, driving through this countryside. And there's a mansion. The car's having some trouble, and there's a shot of a guard post where they're letting some Jeep through, and to show the Jeep pulling up, the arm going up, and the Jeep going through had about 27 cuts.
Yeah.
Just to get this Jeep through. The other car pulls up, it stalls. The guard comes up, and this woman with pigtails gets out of the car and says that, I'm having trouble. And the guard says, you can't be here. You have to leave. All of this dialogue is ADR. All of it. I want to say 98% of the dialogue in this movie was after the fact.
Yeah, probably.
Clearly, people's mouths not matching up with what's being said at all. Like The Room level bad.
For the first 10 minutes of the movie, I was thinking, I was like, is my YouTube messed up? But
no, that's just how it was. That's how
just
it
the movie.
was. Oh my god!
I actually reloaded it twice.
Just trying to get it to catch up a little bit.
Yeah, and then I realized, wait, I'm the idiot. This is just bad.
Yeah. So she pretends to drop her bag, and the guard bends over to help her, and she karate chops him. And the other guard just doesn't see any of this, I guess, even though they're right there.
These guards are the worst guards ever.
These Czechoslovakian guards, wherever we're at.
Yeah,
it's actually the army. It is the army.
Oh, the army, even better.
Yeah, and they are the worst.
Yeah, a weird bit of trivia about the Czechoslovakian army is apparently they have all of their peripheral vision removed when they join up.
So she continues in. She's in her little her ninja gear, dodging guards in a tree, swinging around, kicking them. The music kicks in, and it's like porn level quality music.
Yeah,
right.
Almost all of the music sounds like it's straight out of a porno.
Yeah, She gets up to the building. She shoots a terrible CGI grappling hook up to the roof.
That wasn't real?
And she climbs up, breaks in, disables the alarm, sneaks around the blind spots of the cameras. Now, there's these snap zooms into her equipment, like. It's not quite like a Batman gearing up montage. It's more bad. Just
like to where you can't tell what any of the stuff that you're looking at is. You don't have time.
Yeah,
it's all so fast.
She sets up a laser system off screen, cutting into a safe. A guard comes in and sees it. She beats him up, stock grunts and groans akimbo.
By the way, lasers don't work that way either.
You mean that wasn't a real laser?
No.
So the laser finally breaks into the safe. She opens it up, takes out a small metal box with a biohazard symbol on it, and the camera irises out onto the box in the classiest ending of a opening to a movie.
Yeah, now, so it's like clearly they think that they're James Bond now.
Now, when we first started gearing up to watch this, I watched the first 4.5 minutes, which is exactly what this just was. Everything we just described is the first 4.5 minutes of the movie. And in that 4.5 minutes, there are 110 cuts, 7 fades to black, 7 dissolve transitions, and then the iris transition to end it all out. In 4.5 minutes.
Oh my god.
Look, when you want to make a movie, you got to have the skills.
Yeah. So, after that little scene, we cut to Vienna. where JCVD's getting dropped off in his taxi, going into a restaurant to meet up with Lars.
Also, where they make the best sausages ever.
Oh my God!
Just you don't like those?
Oh, flashbacks. No.
Vienna sausage flashback.
Yes.
He's teasing me about the sausage maker in Go with the Flow, trying to make me lose my sanity in the middle of the podcast. God.
Oh shit.
Anyway, taxi drops off JCVD. He's meeting up with Lars, his boss or something, whatever he is. Walks up to Lars and complaining already. I'm on vacation. Lars says, I don't care if you're on vacation. There's a situation in Slovakia, wherever it is, and we need you to do it. And JCVD say, well, get Malcolm to do it. Says, oh, Malcolm's in Malcolm's back in the States. He's not in Berlin anymore. We need you to do it. You're the only one that can do this, Jacques.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell if his name was Jacques or Jack.
Well, it was interchangeable in the movie.
The woman calls him Jack.
Okay.
Galena, that we meet later, calls him Jack, but it's Jacques. Jacques Christophe. And I wanted it to be Jacques Cousteau so bad. So Lars says, oh, it's an easy gig. It's basically a babysitting job. You're going to meet up with this woman, Galena. She's a high-tech thief, and she's been feeding them information from Slovakia and the government and the goings-on that's going on there. So he gives JCV the documents, and in there's her little headshot. She's all dressed up in a carnival mask, and that's her cover. She was some kind of circus freak or something.
This is the silliest cover ever.
She's a circus freak. You're going to meet her at the border and take her to Munich. You're going to give her the money, half now, half when she gets us what we're wanting from her. And JCVD's, how do I explain this to my wife? So we hard cut to him breaking the news to his wife. And it's clear this is a whole True Lies situation. Where she doesn't know he's a super spy at all.
Wait. I think she did, though.
Did she?
Okay.
No.
Never mind. Let's just keep talking.
Because he was talking about a different person. He didn't mention Lars at all. He mentioned somebody else.
Yeah, he says he's got this new client, Vladimir.
Right. And he's fat and all that.
Yeah.
But a client for what? Like, what does she think he's doing?
We never find out.
So I think she knows.
I don't think
she just.
I think she knows he's in some kind of. I mean, maybe he's some kind of government business, but I don't think she knows he's like a super James Bond figure.
Dude, straight up, we never know what he is. Like, I don't know who he's working for. Is he working for the government? Is he like a freelance?
Well, later on, we're introduced to a guy that looks like Colonel Mustard, so he's apparently working for him.
Yeah. But he also teaches his son all those sweet kicks. I mean, an accountant doesn't know how to do that.
Yeah. So he's telling his wife that, he's got this new important client, Vladimir, that he's got to take care of, and, he's got to go by train because Vladimir won't fly. He's too heavy to get off the ground.
Right then, I was like, hey.
So, and she's talking
about
Vladimir's
a real nice guy. He doesn't deserve all this stuff.
Leave him alone.
It's embarrassing enough when he has to get the seatbelt extension without you trying to say something.
Oh my god, I was on a plane recently and saw somebody have to get one of those. This is the first time. I was like, aw.
I think, okay, like, I'm not the smallest person, but I can fit in a seat, like, no problem. I can buckle up and have plenty of slack left in the seatbelt. I think if it would ever get to the point where the extension had to come out, my life would be reevaluated by the end of that flight. Like, you are officially, you're so fat you've become a nuisance at that point.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm not. I by no means am I a health nut. But come on now.
Yeah. Come on, Jean-Claude. Lay off.
Come on.
Rant over.
So she's complaining about how she had to take time off from working at the hospital to take this vacation, and that he travels so much they had to pull the kids completely out of school. Like, what? So he's a secret super spy, but they follow him around?
She knows what he does.
Well,
Maybe.
I guess would they have to relocate a lot or something? Like, not they don't have to move around with him.
But
on
they made
his
it.
work, but
She made it sound like they're just not in school ever.
yeah.
Wow.
But okay, so he says, "You and the kids are my life." But you're gonna miss your birthday, and they come down, and the kids are just like
Jeez.
chilling on the hood of the car. His daughter and his son is his actual son in real life. That's Chris Van Damme.
I kind of thought that's probably what was going on there.
Yeah,
All right. Okay.
yeah. So, and of course it is, because as he's saying goodbye to his son, he steps back and, okay, now you stay out of trouble. Now show me what you got. And he steps back and squares up. And, of course his son does all the trademark Van Damme roundhouses. And as soon as that happened, I was like, this is going to come back.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
There's going to be a
Absolutely.
reason why his son can do these high kicks.
Yes.
So this,
And boy, it does come back.
tuck that
I
away,
mean-
audience.
When we're on this level of film that we're dealing with most of the time, it may not. Like,
I don't know. I was feeling this movie was going to be fairly obvious with what it was going to be doing as we go.
yeah, probably. It was a pretty clumsy setup, though.
Yeah. I'm not defending this movie. Don't get me wrong.
Oh no, I know.
He says goodbye to his family and pieces out. Now we
Right.
cut to.
Oh no, he does a quick nasty makeout with his wife.
That's right.
That was,
anytime any guy kisses somebody in this movie, it's disgusting. I hated it all.
It's just mushing faces together.
yeah. Like I swear, I think if you turned up the volume enough on your TV, you could hear their teeth clanging together whenever they kiss.
Just a lot of wet sounds.
And she's telling the director, "Wait, cut! He ran into my teeth." And Jean-Claude's like, "No, that's how we do it in France." And it's like, "No,
France.
not at all."
So after the toothy kiss,
Yeah.
we cut to Bratislava, Slovakia.
Yes,
He's
it's a beautiful place to visit, by the way.
Yes. There's a checkpoint. He dips out of the checkpoint to sneak by. He goes into a theater, which is apparently where he's meeting her. I guess Lars never mentioned anything about a theater.
Right.
As he's in there, a spotlight shines down on him, and you hear a woman start to question him about who he is, and tells him to keep his hands up and go to the stage where she can see him. He walks up, gets on the stage. She tells him to walk closer to the light, and she teleports on top of him.
Boom! Scissor
Like
kick.
it cuts, and she's on top of him. So she wasn't working the spotlight, or was she? I don't know. This movie's bad. So she lands on top of him, and the first thing she says is, "I wouldn't trust you if your tongue came notarized."
God.
And he said, "Well, lucky for you," and they started clanging teeth together. No, that's not what happened.
No, she says, "Show me
Because
your ID."
I love my wife.
I love my wife. But take your big stick and your boyfriend. Oh, I so much want to make us watch Hard Target.
Oh God.
It's so good. Anyway, She checks his ID for all of half of a millisecond and knows that he's trustworthy.
Right.
She pulls him up. He gives her the money and her passport, and they say, "Okay, well, we got to get on. We're getting on the 681 to Munich." And she says, "You don't tell me what to do, and I don't need you or want you around me." And then the guards bust in. Excuse me, the army busts in.
Yeah.
JCVD, luckily, he's strapped and pulls out his gun. A little bit of gunfire starts. She yells, she stops him and says, "No, this is my show." And she turns around and turns on a bunch of stage nonsense, lights and sounds and things are spinning around to confuse and confound the guards.
Right. Once again, worst army ever.
Yeah, the guards take a couple of shots at him, but their commanding officer says, "No, don't open fire. We need her alive." There's never any real reason why they need her alive, though.
Well, you don't know that.
We don't, but it's a fact. They're just trying to get the thing she stole that she has on her the whole freaking movie.
I guess you're right.
So, they're fleeing from the guards, and to get away, they run into the back behind all the stage nonsense, and she immediately hooks both of them up to some kind of rigging, and then they go soaring into the rafters. And she does this by striking that Peter Pan pose, with her arms up and her one leg tucked up in the like. Was that absolutely necessary to make the rigging work?
It's called showmanship, Chase.
And well,
distraction techniques.
Yeah,
we didn't turn on these disco lights to just do this half-assed.
Yeah, she's Peter Panning up to the roof, and he's just kind of like dangling from her waist.
Yeah.
So
almost all of the scene, I just had no idea what was happening. It's all dark and
it's
there's
all
like
dark
strobe lights and shit.
I actually put a line on that. It's like, could they have made this scene more difficult to follow? So the guards open fire again, even though they were told not to, and one of the bullets hits one of the lines that they're on, but it doesn't seem to matter because they're zipping all over on these wires, and they zip over to a rafter where a guard has climbed up, and JCVD is now on a separate line from the one she was on,
right?
And zips over and drop kicks the guard, but when he drop kicks the guard, he's the one that falls out of the rafter and is hanging upside down.
Yeah, I gave up. I had no clue what was going on.
So he climbs up, and the guards are coming after him. "You'll never get away from us." And JCVD, punches out a couple of other guards. He punches one of them out, grabs him, throws him over the railing, and he's suddenly hooked up to rigging that saves him.
Right.
Like I said, I have no idea.
It's like the scene in The Dark Knight. It was like the scene in The Dark Knight where Christian or Batman he hooks up all the cops to the rope, so when he knocks them out of the building, they're safe. Except we forgot to show that scene that happened.
Right.
That he cares about this guard's life. Except
they forgot to show the part where they know how to make a movie. That makes sense.
So, Galena says, "Sorry, Jack, I'm out," and she repels away, does some flips and kicks, and knocks out several guards. JCVD immediately teleports down onto the ground with her.
Yeah,
there was no shots of him coming down. It was just he's down there now. They both run out of the theater together. A couple of last guards try to stop them. JCVD just up and nut punches one of them, incapacitating him, and they escape the theater.
Right.
They're walking down the street. There's guards. Guards are around trying to spot them, and Galena uses her spider sense to know that one of the guards is coming and twirls them away in another awkward teeth-mashing kiss.
Yes.
So they
once again, worst army ever.
They're just Terrible.
So they're in the middle of this crowd. They're trying to blend in. There's guards everywhere. They have to escape. So they hail a cab. The cab pulls up, and as the cab pulls up, more guards are showing up. So they need to get out of there. So instead of just, getting in the cab and saying, okay, drive away, and then escaping, JCVD just yanks the cabbie out of the car and throws him across the street, jumps in the car, floors it, tires squealing, 180s in the middle of the street, gets the attention of every guard in the city.
Waves his dick out the window at him and says, look over here!
So, after that ruckus, they all gear up. They're grabbing roadblocks, getting in their trucks, gearing up their mounted machine guns, and they all go after them as they tear through a sidewalk cafe.
Now, the only thing I could think of, though, and as to why he did it that way, is because of all the checkpoints. They wouldn't have been able to get past a checkpoint in a taxi.
I guess.
Now, I agree. That's kind of ultimately what that was for. But he could have gone a more discreet way of taking out the driver.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a gun. Get in and pull out the gun and say, okay, just calmly turn this thing around.
Yeah. He didn't have to GTA 5 him across the whole fucking street.
That is very true.
But I'm with you. I think that was the point of him. He needed to get through the checkpoint.
Yeah. Because he turns around and points it the other way. He's going away from where the army is.
Yeah.
So far, he's a terrible spy or bodyguard or whatever the hell he's supposed to be.
Yeah, at this point, I'm like, Galena seems like she's got it pretty in hand.
Yeah, everybody gets to jump on him.
Yeah, it's the Dean Cain situation all over again. They'd be much better without him.
Yes.
He only exacerbates the situation. So they flee. There's a short little car chase where they're shooting. JCVD shoots out the rear window and takes out a truck or two. They cut through a park, and in that process, all his windows get shot out of the cab, and his tires get shot out. So he's on rims, and this taxi cab handles like fucking butter on rims.
Well, this is one of my peeves because anytime it comes to the car stuff and guns, I'm paying attention. The back tires were never flat. Like in all the following scenes, they're perfectly inflated. And then as the car's driving away, you can see the sparks are coming from the middle of the car, not from the tires.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So he's dragging a muffler.
Yeah.
They just have a spark shooter coming out the bottom of the car.
Pretty much. But the tires were not flat.
Yeah. He's tearing through the park, and he comes to like this little like square area where there's some trolleys and whatnot parked, and he ramps the cab down some stairs, and they do a cut where they show him, and he does the cartoony like bounciness as he's going down the stairs.
In slow motion.
In slow motion, this cartoon head bobble miming. And then in the reverse shot, he's clearly clearing all of the stairs. He doesn't touch a single stair.
Yeah.
This is how badly this movie was done, because I had no clue that they went downstairs.
So after that, he clips a trolley car, and the car launches on its side, and shooting sparks everywhere. There's shots of leaky fuel tanks, and just quick cut. A light pole falls down and ignites the fuel. JCVD and Galena climb out of the cab and run away. Then there's the explosion. 15 minutes in, and we're already spending that ticket. The running away from a slow motion explosion thing.
And that's where I wrote worst explosion ever.
Yes, I wrote terrible CGI taxi cab flies across the screen. And then it hit me what it looked like. It looked like the graphics in that old 90s Aerosmith light gun arcade game. Whenever you'd blow something up, that's what it looked like.
Bonus points to either one of y'all that can tell me what game that was.
Aerosmith shooty fun time.
I thought it was just Aerosmith the game.
Revolution X.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
It was a Revolution X explosion.
Yeah.
Dude, everything here explodes.
Yes. The whole park explodes.
Everything. There's like trolleys and all of it blows up. It's crazy.
Half of the taxi cab lands by them, and it looks like it was severed in half by a laser. It's perfectly cut in half. So they get away from that ruckus, and they cut meanwhile at the train station. Everything's calm at the train station. There's guards everywhere. They come in and they have some top-notch dialogue where Van Damme tells her to act natural. And you want me to play it cool after you blew up half the city?
Yeah. With a single taxi cab?
So,
And we're supposed to be in Slovakia, but the taxi still just says taxi and it's not in another language?
yeah. So,
Just saying. Like, I was sitting there wondering, how do you say taxi in Slovakian? I don't know.
So she says that she has to go to the ladies' room because this situation calls for a little finesse. While she's doing that, Van Damme calls up Lars to complain about, this is anything but a little babysitting gig. And Lars is on the balcony with some floozy drinking wine. He tells him, I don't know what you're talking about. It's all going to be fine. Galena comes out of the ladies' room in a blonde wig and a complete different set of clothes. She's completely changed what she looks like. Van Damme changes nothing about him.
Well, I like how finesse equals obvious blonde wig.
Yeah.
I just can't help but point out that, once again, he is the worst super spy in the world.
Yeah.
They're clearly looking for both of them now. He doesn't.
Right.
Maybe,
whatever.
then again, maybe he is so good that he realizes that this army totally sucks.
Yeah, the best place to hide is out in the open.
In this scene, they pass by no less than 20 people that are looking for him before she ever gets in the disguise.
Yeah.
And nobody notices.
And
Do we know at all if he's traveling under an alias?
I don't think he is.
Okay.
Probably not.
He's Jacques Cousteau.
Yeah, why would he go under something else?
So as they're walking up to the train checkpoint, she gives him back the passport that he gave her and says, I don't need this. And she's got a passport for this blonde wig identity that she already has. Once again, establishing that she would have been much better off alone.
Yeah, she's the better spy.
Yeah. So as they're getting on the plane, there's a lot of slow-mo identification checking to build that tension.
They just keep cutting back and forth between Van Damme's face and that one guard's face. And that's just really fun. He's just like staring at the camera for an uncomfortable amount of time.
Yeah. He gets ready to pull his gun just in case, this Mexican standoff goes awry.
I thought he was just giving a thumbs up.
No, we're all cool.
Yeah,
that's his cover. That's how he gets in.
The guard. He gives the thumbs up. The guard nods and lets him on.
Yeah, he doesn't have to bribe him or anything. He just has to give him a solid thumbs up. You're doing a good job. So the guard waves him on.
Once that guard waved him on, I like to think that it's at that point that somebody in the Slovakian government was like, whoa. We got to get ahead of this thing. People think we don't know what the hell we're doing. And I like to think that there was a whole regime change within the Slovakian army just because of this. They're like, no more red berets, getting rid of that. That just looks silly. And y'all need to learn how to check IDs better.
Yeah. So they get on. Van Damme insists that they change rooms. the one smart thing he's done as a super spy, anticipating that they may know where they're assigned to be. So they switch cars. We cut to the bar car, and we meet a couple of new characters, 3 new characters. We meet random cowboy, spastic musician lady, and limey English guy.
Yeah.
I called them all oil, music, and jacket.
That's it. I mean,
jacket is great. So, this random cowboy in the middle of Slovakia is is putting the moves on this spastic musician woman. And she's talking about how, oh, you must be very insightful knowing that I'm a musician. And he said, oh, well, it must be interesting being a musician, all the songs and such.
Yeah. What an idiot.
To which he responds, it's amazing I can keep them all straight in my head.
She's giving him the business. Him the business.
I couldn't tell if this was supposed to be, setting up some kind of sexual tension between these two, because it wasn't.
No, not at all.
Then we meet Angus Riley, who points out that, the cowboy just got shot down. The cowboy introduces himself as Bob Sterling. He's a Texas oil man.
Which goes back to, I definitely prefer that we keep it with oil, music, and jacket at this point.
It's a lot easier.
So Jacket says that, well, I'm into oil too whenever I'm making repairs on my bike.
Yeah, which is nothing.
That's basically the same thing as being in the oil business.
Yeah, basically.
It is absolutely nothing. It's like, oh, I'm a tomato farmer. Oh, I'm into farming too because I put ketchup on my French fries. No, asshole, you're not a farmer at all.
But the important thing of this is that we've established that there is a motorcycle somewhere on this train.
Oh my god!
Oh, is that what that was supposed to be?
You thought about this a lot more than I did.
Wow.
That's the only thing I got out of that. We've established there's a motorcycle for Van Damme to use.
I didn't catch that at all.
Is he going to surf on it like in Hard Target? One can only hope. Oil says, oh, you limeys have a good sense of humor, so we're going to drink together for a while. And the train departs. After this, Galena, we cut back to the car with JCVD and Galena. And Galena wants to get some champagne to celebrate because they just got through the toughest border in the Eastern Bloc. And JCVD says, no, we're not going anywhere. We're staying in this car. And she says, oh, am I under house arrest? Am I in jail? You sound like my son. Wait, well, you also have a daughter, so wouldn't that be a better comparison?
Believe me, in short form, he proves how terrible of a father he is.
Well, he pays no attention to his daughter at all through this whole movie.
No.
It's all about his son. So he easily could have said...
I want to talk about this relationship that they're trying to build between Galena and Jacques. It's supposed to be this like headbutting kind of relationship where she's always pissed at him for no reason. Mm-hmm. And like... it's so forced. Why are they doing this? He's there to help protect her. Does she not want protection? Like, what's the deal here?
I'm going to argue, no, she does not, and she's completely in the right here. Well, she does not need him.
That's probably true. I don't know why she has to be shitty about it, though.
So, from here we cut back to Oil and Jacket. And they're in the middle of a conversation where Jacket's talking about the whereabouts of some woman. And it turns out that it's his lady friend that he's trying to track down, and he's following in True Love's footsteps. And I'm thinking, did we miss a scene here? Because
that scene is somewhere in a trash can.
Are we like we're building these characters now for some reason? I didn't think these characters were going to be all that important.
I did not also think this. I mean, ultimately they aren't, and this is all a waste of time.
So Oil buys another round of drinks, and he says, "I'm going to pay for all the drinks." Because the conductor said that he'd pick up my tab if all I did was switch compartments. So, okay, we've established that the compartment that they switched to was Oil's. And yes. Oil is now in their original compartment.
Yeah, they didn't offer any money to switch compartments.
No, they just said we need to switch compartments.
They could.
And so now this poor conductor has to pick up the bar tab of this drunk.
Yeah. What an insane agreement to come to.
Well, next time I'm on a train, now I know how I'm going to approach the negotiations.
That conductor's customer service is like A+.
What do you mean you ain't going to pay for all my drinks?
So after this pointless scene, we cut to yet another pointless scene where one of the train guys is talking to the musician woman and is asking her if he can put her violin in the overhead, and she refuses, and that's the scene.
Yeah, he's like,
and I'm thinking,
okay.
They better not Chekhov's gun this violin. This violin has to have a point now. You made a whole goddamn scene about it.
Yeah. Stupid violin.
So there's a lot of strange fades back and forth. They have to establish time in this movie every 5 minutes. They cut to an exterior shot of the train between every line of dialogue.
And all this adds to the confusion of where you're supposed to be at in the train.
Yes. Because after this, we cut back to Jacket and Oil still drinking. And they call it quits, and Oil stumbles out singing a country song. And that's the end of that scene.
Yeah.
Back to more establishing train shots. We know we're on a fucking train.
Well, I was kind of confused up until that point, so I'm glad they did.
So this is where that scene I was talking about earlier happens, where Galena is sitting on the bench in the room, and she's like flirtatiously patting the seat for Jacques to come sit next to her, and he's standing up on the other side of the room. It cuts, breaks the 180-degree rule. She's standing up where he was, and he's sitting down. Then it cuts to a different fucking scene. Nauseating.
I just can't. I just can't deal.
After more establishing shots of the train, we see the next stop, the next station, and there's a bunch of unsavory characters milling about. The train comes to a stop, and they all start to slowly board the train and spread out. A man and a woman get into one of the compartments and say they don't want to be disturbed. I got a feeling that these two are going to be important.
Yep.
As the unsavory types board the train, they kill the engineer and take over control of the train. They smash his 1980s conference phone that he had on the controls of the train. So they've got control of the train. And then there's a really weird stretch dissolve transition.
Oh yeah, they start putting in these like stock transitions from iMovie or whatever.
It stretches the frame and fades into the next scene where they're all loading up guns and getting ready to take over the train.
I was panicking at this point because like they started showing all these new people. And I'm like, I don't want any more people in this movie. Can't they just have a nice train ride and like just end it?
They just get there safely and it's over.
Just leave it alone. I don't want to meet a bunch of, half-written characters.
Yeah, and that's what they were. There was a token black goon,
right?
Yep.
There was the couple goons, the man woman team.
With the red leather, she had the red leather jacket.
Yeah, there was slicked back mullet kissing his cross goon. He was supposed to
Yeah.
be some kind of character. And then there was, goon number 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Right.
There was also Uzi Blazer.
Uzi Blazer. There was Nerd Goon, who was the one that took control of the train
Yeah,
because he had glasses on.
Yeah, and they were all terrible.
he was turtleneck. He had a turtleneck.
Yeah. You paid way more attention to what they were wearing than I did.
I was like, this is the only way I'm gonna keep track of these people.
Yeah. So the man and woman that got on, not the goon man and woman, but the first two, it turns out that they're the ones in charge. The guy tells them to, go out and take the train. Lars gives a call to JCVD, and they're discussing the situation. And then the thugs set off a cell phone blocker that turns off all the cell phones. So JCVD is going to head out and figure out what's going on. And just flat out leaves Galena behind. Actually first, before that, they're talking to each other, and she's taking off her shirt, trying to, like, seduce him some more, I guess.
Yeah, what is that about? Why is she trying to seduce him now?
I don't, because the next scene's about to happen?
What is her play? Well, okay, so this scene I was like, I paid a lot of attention to because I was like, what the hell is going on? She tries to seduce him. He says he's married. She says she likes married men. Why? What does that mean? You like them because they're married? What? And then he says, "I bet you do." What does that mean? What does any of this mean?
I mean, I thought it was pretty obvious. I'm not willing to divulge because I really have no clue, but I thought it was obvious.
Yeah. So, okay, so this is the point we cut that. So that happens. She goes in the other room of the compartment. We cut out to the thugs spreading across the train. We cut back into the compartment to see Jean-Claude Van Damme stuffing something into his pants. And I don't know what it was because he had his gun out.
It was the will that was freshly made taking out his daughter.
So there's a knock at the door, and a woman's voice says that they're checking tickets, but he's wary. He's got his gun out. He does this smooth move where he puts his jacket on with his gun in his hand, like that's a move or something.
Yeah.
So goes, opens the door, and it's his family in the middle of Slovakia on some random ass train.
I can't
Dude.
believe this.
When he opened up the door, out loud, I went, "Oh shit!" Like it got me.
His whole family followed him from Berlin to this station, not the one that they started from in Bratislava. This middle checkpoint station. They figured out he was going to be there and got on the train. In all this...
I couldn't believe this. I was like flabbergasted. I'm supposed to believe he's on some secret mission.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to believe his family found out where he was, found out what train he was supposed to be on, and found his compartment after he switched compartments.
Yes. He's a super
All the more
spy.
reason she knows what he's doing.
I don't think that's wise for a super spy. Don't you think they would have had that conversation? Look, honey, when I'm out doing my super spy job, you can't just do the pop in.
Yeah, and if you do the pop-in, leave our daughter at home.
So they all come in. They brought him a pie or something. And
Yeah.
His son Ethan comes in, and he's got a video camera, and he's videotaping everything. And JCVD just, he doesn't, he's as surprised to see them as the audience is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote down his line. He's like, "I can't believe you did this."
And he was talking to the director.
Yeah.
Seriously? No one will believe this. So Ethan opens the door to the next room and finds Galena. And now there's trouble.
Shirtless.
Oh, shit.
So the tension rises, and the family all storms out. The daughter storms out first, then followed by the son, and then the wife leaves, and he's following her out. And Galena's like, "Oh, I hope I didn't cause any trouble." Too late.
Yeah.
So he's
Well, it's not her fault.
It's not. It's not her fault. Because she told him a long time ago she don't need him to be there.
Yeah. So
who hired him? If not her, I don't understand.
Lars hired him. Okay, not to spoil the movie, but Lars is in cahoots with the bad guys here.
Yeah.
Sure.
Actually, you know what? I just confused myself further, because why would he hire some guy to make it harder for the bad guys?
Yes,
that's
why?
true. Damn.
Jesus Christ. Son of a bitch.
See, this is why I'm almost done with this shit. I can't handle this no more. This is a young man's game. I'm getting out.
Oh my God. I just got a headache that second. Okay. So where the fuck was I? Oh God. So yeah, so he's following after his wife. She's accusing him of, hopping this train with this prostitute. She's not a prostitute.
Yeah, go ahead and start defending her.
Defend her now. She says, I'm going to find the kids and I'm getting off at the next stop. So JCVD, he goes back to the car, tells Galena to stay here. I got to go find my family and save my marriage.
Which right then is when I started thinking this dude's a terrible father. Because you went back to the car before going after your family.
Yeah.
Oh, it gets worse. It
does get worse. This is just the first red flag.
Yeah.
I wrote down that now Van Damme has to save the train and his marriage. How many things are going to be derailed?
Wow. God. Okay, so now we cut to Oil getting hassled by the goons as they're searching the train for Galena.
Right.
Jacques walks in, JCVD, and he's taken hostage immediately. The goons are just emptying the cabins, taking everybody out of them.
Can you imagine? Van Damme's family also had to hassle Oil to find the compartment that they were in.
They had to shake him down too.
They came in with the cake and wait, you're not Dad. Yeah, but I'll take that pie off you, honey. No, thank you, sir. Please stop touching my daughter.
So we cut to the baggage car where there's some employees and the conductor is in the baggage car. And right before the goons come in, the conductor like picks up the scent of them or something and just kind of sneaks out.
See, at that point I was like, is the conductor in on it?
That's what I thought
he
too.
He wasn't, but it was like
it seemed like
it
he
definitely
knew,
made you think that.
Yeah, he knew to get out of there because right after he leaves, like the second he closes the door, the goons come in and just mow down the other two train workers. Jacket is in the bar car where Jacques' kids are now just hanging out. The goons come in. They're starting to put all the hostages in that car with them. They bring them all through that into the passenger car where the violin lady is. The woman that's with the guy in charge is pointing a gun around. She points the gun at Bob Oil. Excuse me.
That's Uzi Blazer.
Uzi Blazer points the gun at Oil.
This whole thing's gonna sound like complete nonsense now.
And they've got JCVD in the back, and as Uzi Blazer is causing a distraction, harassing Oil, JCVD just starts kicking this guy out of the train car into what I'm assuming is a very stealthy way to high kick someone out of a car, because no one noticed it happened.
Yeah,
Right.
For some reason, all of the doors to the outside of the train are open at all times, and everyone can be kicked or shot out of them at any moment.
He does his upward split kick to the guy's chest twice, and just kind of like slowly works his way out of the car where all the other bad guys are.
Right.
No one notices this. He throws the guy off the train, and this is where, again, like you just said, Blake, how good of a person this guy,
Just straight up
JCVD is.
leaves his family behind.
Leaves his family, who is being held hostage at gunpoint, to go find Galena.
Yeah.
Much more important. So he comes in, she's gone. He looks up and sees a vent in the roof and assumes she went through the vent. So he goes down into his bag, gets some ammo out of the bag, and they dissolve cut like 5 times.
Yeah, I wrote. I can't tell what he's pulling out because they dissolve all of them away before I can see what they are.
He's pulling out bullets for his revolver.
Oh.
Sure. Okay.
But
I'll have to take your word for it.
it's just a shot of his hands in the duffel bag, and they fade cut between like 5 different takes of him getting this out of the bag. Yeah.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, he was just pulling out black shapes, and then that was it.
Yeah. And so he then follows Galena up into the ventilation system of this train. And anytime that they're showing them crawling through the ventilation system, it's just them crawling around in darkness, because they didn't have a ventilation system set up that they could film inside of. So they just turned the lights out and said, crawl around on the ground. So the thugs are still taking passengers. They tell the boss that they can't find Galena, so he orders them to move all the first-class passengers into the bar car. Then we got a Star Wars wipe transition, still throwing new ones at us. The Uzi Blazer shoots a guy off the train for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, he like moved too fast or something.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
He startled her, so shoots him off.
She got spooked.
Mom is reunited with the kids at this point. Some more cuts to JCVD crawling after Galena in the darkness.
Hold on, wait though. When she gets into the bar, his wife gets into the bar car and she sees the kids. She like pushes past everybody. There's all these armed people standing around, and she's like, "Out of my way!"
Yeah.
And
Uzi Blazer just shot someone for moving too fast.
Yeah, and
they're
then
all willing to kill anybody at the drop of a hat.
Yeah,
But-
and then she appeals to Uzi Blazer's good nature by
Those are my
saying,
kids.
"Those are my kids." And Uzi Blazer's like, "Okay." These terrorists have a soft spot for the kids.
Well, it's good somebody on that train does.
Maybe Uzi Blazer can be the father figure for these children.
The
He'll
father
be
they
a
never
lot better
had.
than old Jacques.
Yeah.
So they're crawling around in the dark still. She climbs out. They're in the baggage car. I think
I
it's
don't
too
even
dark.
ask.
It's too dark to tell.
No clue.
She comes out. A thug finds her. They
He was
have
like
a bit.
waiting for her. He was like right there.
Yeah, they have a scuffle, and in the middle of the fight, the classic Wilhelm scream happens.
Yes.
And all she's doing is flipping him. She's just doing like an over-the-shoulder flip, and that scream happens.
So that's not the Wilhelm scream.
Is
I
that the
don't
Wilhelm
know-
scream?
No, I can show you the Wilhelm scream later. Though
I
you
thought
know
that was it.
No, it's the Wilhelm scream is the like I don't know. We'll have to do it after the show. But,
No. Keep going.
Well,
but that's not it.
I thought it was the Wilhelm scream. That's one of those commonly used screams, though.
It's a
I thought
ubiquitous one.
Yeah.
For sure. I found that out. I thought it was a Wilhelm scream for the longest time. But anyway, it's a totally insane sound effect, though.
Yeah.
And so usually when they use that scream, they try to bury it in the mix.
Yeah.
Right.
So you don't hear it that much. They put that motherfucker
It's so loud.
right at the top of the mix.
It's so loud.
It's louder than the train and the music and everything.
This guy's getting flipped 2 feet onto the ground. So she gets on top of him. She's strangling him with her legs. And then she shoots him?
I don't know.
Dude beats the fuck out of me. I have no clue.
So after
Maybe.
she kills him, and then she tries to jump off the train, and Jacques stops her. He says, "No, you'll kill yourself trying to jump from the train." And she says, "Well, that's better than Mason Cole getting me. We have a name for the antagonist.
Yep.
Mason Cole. If he finds me, he'll kill me. I gotta get out of here." And she drops the box from earlier, and it pops open, and we see what looks like 4 glow sticks inside of it. And this is the biological weapon that she's smuggling, and it's called what I thought she said SPF 43. So she's got this virus, and Jacques picks it up. He's like, "Oh, you could kill millions with this." And he's like, "Oh, Lars must have known about this." And well, I've got to save my family. And he takes the vials. He's, "I'm keeping these." And so they climb on top of the train for reasons.
Well, they explain what it is, right? What the virus is.
Yeah.
They do.
They say it's a mutated strain of smallpox.
Yes.
And also a bunch of other shit in there.
Yeah, it's a mutated strain of smallpox with several other pathogens as well. Could you just say there was a bunch of shit? Why is smallpox the special one?
Smallpox is the main ingredient.
Yeah.
That's the first ingredient listed.
Yeah.
Hence the SP in the SP43.
Yes.
Oh, see, I thought it was SB. Nah.
I probably should have kept my mouth shut. That might have been a question.
Me.
Fuck.
No, he said.
What SPF was the virus that she was carrying? So, the goons are with the first class class passengers in the bar car. They're not going to let this woman keep her violin. So Mason opens it up and takes it out and smashes it. So there you go. There's the payoff for the violin.
For no reason.
Just to show that he's a dick.
Yeah.
Also, this train is fucking huge, but they can fit all the passengers into a bar car?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's only like 15 of them.
Yeah. That's why it was so easy for JCVD's family to get tickets. There's nobody on this fucking thing.
Well, then why do you have to switch bunks with somebody? Should have had plenty of empty ones.
Well, they wanted that one. He happened to pick one someone was in. Oil was staying in that one.
Ay, ay, ay.
JCVD then dangles himself off the side of the train to see inside of the bar car.
Which makes no sense.
Now you're getting hung up on what's
I
making
am.
sense.
I'm starting to get there.
We're an hour into this thing. Mason is addressing the passengers that he's looking for Galena. You men will remember her because she's quite striking.
And Oil's like, I've been paying attention to this broad over here. I don't know what you're talking about.
His whole description is quite striking and accompanied by a man. And then he gets super pissed when no one knows who he's talking about.
Well, he insists that one of them knows where they are. And to prove that, he just shoots a guy in the face.
Yeah.
One of you knows where she is. Is it you? I don't know where she is. Pow! and then he turns around to the rest of them and says, "Well, if you don't know, you don't know. If you come up with it, let me know later."
Yeah. That's exactly what he said. He walked out.
That guy got super unlucky.
Maybe you guys don't know. Shit. Maybe I'm just being an asshole.
he's talking to his goons later. He's like, "Do you think I killed that guy? Like, do you think that was a? Do you think maybe he didn't know? Really? Now I feel like a real jerk.
Oh man,
I'm starting to think my therapist is right.
I'm such a heel." So he orders his men to check the toilets, check the baggage, pull up the carpets, just find Galena. JCVD climbs back up to the top of the train, and then suddenly goons are on top of the train. And we get a whole sequence of terrible green screen.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
But it's okay, though, because it was shot so fucking dark that you hardly notice.
Yeah. So JCVD, he's shooting the goons off of the roof. The goons in the car start shooting up through the roof at him. Mason orders them to stop shooting. So they're standing around looking at the ceiling, waiting to see where he's going to drop from. Of course, it's going to be the window, but they don't think that through. He swings through the window and kicks one of them, and it really seems like he gets stuck in that window.
Yeah, it does.
And that this is the moment to strike bad guys, as he's clumsily freeing himself from his window cage.
Yeah, because I noticed his back went just flat on that table.
Yeah.
And there was no more movement after that.
So there's some he slow-mo kicks some guys, and then it happens. The screen splits in two.
Dude, and I'm not even saying this to be funny. When that happened, I didn't even look at it until it was done. Because I knew there's no way. How can you process two fight scenes at the same time in a split screen? I didn't even watch it.
Two fight scenes at the same time in a split screen that neither one of them is shot coherently.
No.
I was out.
Were they?
Nope.
Were they even supposed to be in the same car?
I think so. I think she came in behind him.
Yeah.
Yeah. They showed all these angles, and neither. They're not in. VD's not in hers angles, and she's not in any of his angles.
That's why they split the screen, because how are you going to follow two separate fights in a straight line in a train? It's the only way. It's the only way.
Whoever did that fight choreography of this movie, I guarantee you, when he saw the first season of Daredevil, he was like, "Oh, that's how you do a fight in a narrow space."
Oh yeah. So
you mentioned the split screen in Coming Attractions, and
yeah.
I kind of expected it to feature more.
So did I, but after seeing how this movie uses one gimmick and then tosses it over and over again, I'm now not surprised. So the screen splits in two. The screen on the left is JCVD fighting a guy with a broken bottle. And on the right is Galena fighting Uzi Blazer. So it's not for very long. And it's not, it doesn't, I mean, you didn't miss much, Blake. Because JCVD gets knocked out fairly quick. He just gets pistol whipped by a token black guy.
Oh, okay. Because I saw him on the ground after. I was just like, oh, well, I guess he lost.
And then Mason comes in, and he has Uzi Blazer search Galena for the virus. She doesn't have it. So he says, oh, well, search the other guy. Search Jock. And they find the vials. And as soon as they pull the vials out from his jacket, Galena just lashes out. Those are mine! And slaps them. And these vials of deadly virus go flying through the air. And there's several freeze frames of their faces as they look in horror as this is playing out. The vials broke. The glow stick liquid gets on Uzi Blazer.
Right.
Token black goon is just freaking out. And by freaking out, they just hang on his face going, oh, oh, many times. We get a little CG shot of the virus particles floating up into the air vents.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
they did this
barely.
weird digital zoom in to the container of the goo,
Yeah.
but it like missed the container and like just zoomed in on the carpet.
Did anybody else notice that on the vials they had TGRI was on the side of them?
If only this ended with a ninja rap instead of the rap that it does end with.
Well,
We'll get to that.
fuck.
So it's airborne now. Uzi Blazer goes and washes up in an ice bucket, like that's gonna help. Mason says that it's not a big deal, that we're gonna make an antidote out of it, and that's why we're stealing it.
I don't understand their plan.
Which seems like a big waste of time.
Yeah, what are they up to? Do they just work for a pharmaceutical company and they want to like corner the market on this vaccine?
They're stealing this bioweapon from the Slovakians, and they're going to use it for some nefarious reasons, but they're gonna synthesize a antidote for just them.
This is why people hate Big Pharma. If you watch after the credits, you find out that all those people are just Walgreens representatives.
So, Mason makes a call to Brett in the helicopter, and he's
I
coming.
thought it was Fritz.
Oh, was it Fritz? I thought it was.
Oh,
Brett.
it's Fritz.
Oh, it's Fritz.
Fritz,
Okay, excuse me.
Because I was like, why is his name Fritz and he's got like a British accent? I don't know. You'd expect a German one, I guess.
Yeah. So he calls the helicopter. The helicopter's 15 minutes out to pick him up. Uzi Blazer runs up to Mason and apologizes for getting infected, and Mason says, whatever, and shoots her.
Yeah.
So he just got done explaining that they're going to make an antidote, and it doesn't matter if you're infected. And he's killed his
pissed at her for breaking them, I guess.
She didn't do it. Galena did it.
I don't know. I can't figure this movie out.
So he kills her and orders her thrown from the train. Now, here's the other thing. Infected bodies are being dumped off of this train the whole movie.
I didn't think about that.
There's just bloated, infected corpses littering this rail line all the way across Slovakia. So remember that.
Yeah.
So
that actually does come up later, though.
Oh, does it?
Yep.
See, he does this every time.
God. Anyway, we'll get to it.
Yes.
No, we won't.
Mason orders them to kill JCVD. So they beat on him a little bit, but then
of course, all they have to do is shoot him.
All they gotta do is shoot him.
And that's the other thing. Okay, he has no problem just shooting people. No problem, like no hesitation, just shooting people.
Yeah.
And then but kill him for me.
This he has to delegate for some reason.
Yeah.
And then you figure the people in his crew would like go by his example. Nah, we're gonna punch him for a little while.
We gotta rough him up a little bit.
Yeah.
We got to give him a chance to retaliate and defeat us all.
Right.
So that happens. He throws the goons into each other, and then he appears to get shot in the face.
Yeah.
Off of the train. Roll credits.
Nope.
As they're fighting in the little space in between two cars, there's a little door. He's up against the door, and one of the goons puts the gun to his face and pulls the trigger, and he flies out the door. I don't even think the bullet hit him.
No.
Because it cuts to him, like, hanging off the side of the train, fine.
Yeah.
So,
very confusing.
So the virus is spreading. Everyone in the bar car is getting sick. Mason tells Galena as he's passing through that he won't hesitate to splatter her all over the tracks like he just did Kristoff. And the family overhears it. And Ethan starts to really stare down Mason. And this is where it struck me, and I said, I swear to God, if Ethan defeats Mason with one of those roundhouses,
Yep.
I don't know what I'll do. Moving on. Mason and Galena are having a little discussion, and he's talking about, I made you who you are, and I gave you everything, and she begs him to give her another chance, and more teeth clinking makeout sessions.
Oh, so
Right.
gross. So gross.
And then teeth clanging makeout sessions, and now Jacques is underneath the train, crawling around.
This is where they threw every editing tool that they could.
It's a clusterfuck of cuts between the makeout session and JCVD under the train. Every kind of cut, every kind of transition, just nonsense.
And within half a second, just boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 just it's nuts.
I don't know what they were trying to communicate here. Like using editing as a tool to establish, whatever. What were they
I think the
establishing?
editor was just as over this movie as we were at this point.
He should have done less then. I don't know why it got him so enthusiastic to throw some cuts in.
Yeah.
Maybe
we were
he was
joking.
like, you know what? I'm really gonna screw this thing up.
We were joking in the last Coming Attractions that, or the one for this movie, that it would make us feel ill. It actually did.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
this part did.
Oh.
God. So Jacques climbs back onto the train. The helicopter's approaching. He's moving through the baggage car, and he finds the conductor hiding in a cabinet. So the conductor wasn't in on it, because he's been absent the whole movie.
Right.
So JCVD tells him, I need to get to the engine. I'm pretty sure it's the front car, JCVD. I don't think you need directions to the engine of the train.
Well, you won't find it back here, you froggy bastard.
So the conductor says, I can't go with you because I've got a bum leg, but here's a walkie-talkie, and I'll talk you through it. So we're
And
Jurassic
pray to
Park
God
in
they
the
don't
thing.
turn their walkie-talkies on the same channel.
So the train is starting to come to a stop or slow down so that the helicopter can pick these guys up at the next stop. And some random hostage decides to just take off running out of the car and gets kicked to the ground. And I'm noticing that at this point I've heard the stock squeaky door opening sound effect
Yes, I have that.
about 35 times.
I have that too. I have so many stock door opening sounds.
Over and over again. JCVD finds the nerd goon that took over the train. The nerd goon's working on something in the engine, and nerd goon throws a tiny wrench at him, and then upgrades to a much larger wrench, and that doesn't work either.
Well, when he throws that much larger wrench, it's like one of those Three Stooges wrenches because it had like zero weight to it.
It's made out of foam.
Big old foam rubber wrench.
So Jacques disarms him, and does he throw him into the engine of the train?
Dude, again, no fucking idea what happens here.
I don't know.
Because
I said some nerd tries to fight Van Damme, but Van Damme does something to him.
Yeah, I don't know what he did.
it's really dark. It's only lit by one big red light, and whatever the nerdy guy was working, whatever compartment he was working in, that's where JCVD threw him and shut the compartment. So did he get grinded up into the gears of the train there?
Let's go ahead and say
we can only hope. Yeah.
Let's just say yeah.
So that happens. He throat punches the other goon at the controls, and now JCVD has control of the train. And much like Dean Cain, this is not going to go well.
For some reason, as soon as he was in front of the train, and hopefully, I know, usually Chase gets my Seinfeld references.
Oh my God, the Kramer driving the bus.
Yes, exactly. That's
Grab him by the collar, throw him out. Now I'm driving the bus.
Now I'm driving the bus.
You're Batman.
Fighting him off with the other arm.
That's exactly what I was thinking about when this scene happened.
You kept making all the stops?
People kept ringing the bell.
Okay, glad we're all on the same page there.
Okay, yes, we're all Seinfeld fans. Okay,
Good.
Moving on. So, cut back to the bar car, and Jacques' daughter has a severe fever, and no one could care less.
No.
But his poor son, though.
Yeah, she's got a fever. They need to bring the temperature down, so she goes to get water for the kids, and she comes back with a rag.
It's
She
right
says-
then that Ethan should have fucking karate-sized her ass and put her out of her misery.
She says, I need to get water for my kids, and she goes off to the bar, and she comes back with a rag and puts it on her head.
This is another scenario where the thug is like got a soft spot for the kid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For no reason.
And she
had a whole
doctor.
10 feet of walking toward him, and he didn't say a word.
Yeah.
She's like, for the kids, though. And he steps aside.
Well, as I'm seeing you're not actually taking water, I guess I'm okay with it. Then there's a there's a bunch of snap cuts of, well, they show how sick everyone is in the car. They show the violin girl coughing, everybody's coughing. And then they show the thug that keeps kissing his cross. And they do a bunch of those weird snap cuts when he's doing that. Like the same thing they did when JCVD was digging around in his bag.
All he does is look nervous and kiss his cross, and it's like 4 cuts.
The terrible henchman.
So JCVD, now that he's in control, he turns the cell blocker off and calls up Lars. Lars says, don't worry, backup's on the way. Meanwhile, back in the bar car, Oil and Jacket are getting in a scuffle. Oil calls Jacket Elton John, and he doesn't appreciate it.
Come on, you two. You're such good friends.
Yeah. Knock it out, guys.
No, we don't. We get along like oil and jackets.
Like oil and motorcycles.
So, because Bob's freaking out, he doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to be around the sick people. It's established that, if you were born before a certain year, you got a smallpox vaccine, so you're not going to get it as fast as the younger people. So Bob wants nothing to do with the younger people. Oil.
Which, by the way, that little marker, that scar on his arm,
yeah,
that's a real thing.
Yes.
Yeah, my mom has that, I know.
Yeah.
Well, younger people have those scars too. But if you're from Guatemala, because Becca's from Guatemala, and she's got all the scars on her arm from the vaccinations, but she was born in the 80s. But, takes time to get there. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah. So Mason having, coupled with Galena successfully, I guess.
Yeah.
They come out
I
of
can't believe... Well, did we talk about that? Did we mention that Galena tries to, she puts the moves on him to get out of the situation?
No,
Well, that was during the whole...
She was trying to get a second chance from him, and then they did the teeth rattling kiss.
Oh, yeah. I can't believe that they went through with having sex.
Yeah. They come out, and then he decides he still doesn't trust her and handcuffs her to a rail and says that, I hope you die a painful death, and leaves.
Mason is cold-blooded.
That's a true player right there.
So we cut back, and the conductor has to hide from some thugs coming through. It's the happy couple thugs. He radios Jacques and tells him that there's some bad dudes are coming. More crazy cuts. JCVD speeds up the train so that the terrorists can't get off. And
Right.
he then proceeds to murder the girl that comes in.
Yeah.
He slams her head on the ground, killing her.
Did he blow the hydraulic line yet?
Maybe. There was a lot of train jargon.
Yeah, there's a bunch of bullshit going on.
Because it's right then when the fire starts, right?
Yeah, the fire that starts that no one gives a damn about.
Okay.
Burns for hours and hours.
Hydraulic. It was a hydraulic line that blew.
Yeah.
And this is where I started saying I did way more research than I needed.
Let me guess, hydraulic fluid doesn't catch fire.
Hydraulic fluid is not flammable. However, it is combustible. It needs to reach a temperature of 300 to 500 degrees to combust. Your standard train engine only runs at about 2 to 250 degrees while it's running. So that fluid coming into contact with the engine would not have ignited it. Now we can move forward.
Okay. So, after Jacques murders this girl, the train engine catches on fire, as is scientifically possible.
Right.
So, JCVD then does nothing. He just walks right by the fire. The boyfriend of the girl he just killed comes out, and JCVD's kicks do nothing to him. The goggles do nothing. There's more of those stock grunts as they wrestle. The kind of grunt.
Every single stock fight sound effect is used here.
Yeah. JCVD then breaks the guy's arm and chokes him out. I think he actually kills him, choking him.
Once again, who knows?
Who knows what
say?
happens? Mason is on the walkie-talkie with the helicopter guy. He tells him to drop the ladder. They drop the ladder, but there's too much rockiness from the mountain or something that it's not going to work. The helicopter guy tells him, I got to pick you up on the other side of the mountain, and Mason says, no, we got to do this now. JCVD climbs up again to the roof again so we can see some more green screen, and he's racing towards the ladder. At the same time, Mason is going to the ladder. Mason gets to the ladder, starts to climb up. JCVD gets to the ladder, and he fastens the ladder to the top of the train in some manner and begins to climb up the ladder, and there's a ladder fight between him and Mason.
A very shitty ladder fight. Not even worth the effort of doing the green screen and all, because it was a very crappy fight.
Didn't they just kick him once or something?
He was just kind of tugging on his pants legs, and that's really it.
It was like a little slap fight, and then that was it.
It wasn't anything like the stabilizer helicopter fight.
No.
Who knows what that was like?
So, and might I add, all these wide shots of the helicopter and the train are models.
Yes. The quality of the video. The quality of the video was so bad that there were times when I couldn't tell what was CG and what was model. I was guessing that it was models.
The train was a model train.
Yeah, and I was loving it. I loved all these shitty miniatures.
Yeah, at the very end, it was very obvious they just threw a Lionel train hanging off the edge or something.
Yeah,
I know
it's
I'm
like
getting a little too far, but
Godzilla shit.
Yeah.
Perfect example.
Yeah. So, he foils the helicopter escape, and somehow Mason gets back inside the train and is shooting at JCVD through the roof again because he's still on the roof.
I don't know how that happened.
The train then goes into a tunnel, and the helicopter, unable to break this rope ladder, slams into the mountainside and explodes.
In a tiny little baby explosion, like a miniature explosion.
I thought
another
it
Revolution X explosion.
Yeah, I was gonna say either a Revolution X explosion or an old school New Hope explosion from Star Wars. Just a bad little blip of an explosion. It was
Well, it was like there was a real effect where they blew up the miniature helicopter.
Yeah, but
it was just this tiny.
Yeah,
it was this tiny little like M80 like explosion.
We'll fill up this toy helicopter with hydraulic fluid. That'll do it.
We'll only heat it up to 250 degrees.
Right.
So,
but then through editing, they make the explosion like 5,000 times bigger than it ever was. Van Damme's on top of the train still, and like they make it look like he's in a tunnel of flame.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the flames get sucked into the tunnel, and they're all around him as he's crawling around in the dark.
It's so funny. They cut from a shot of the train, the miniature train coming into the tunnel with like fire everywhere. That looks like a miniature train in a pizza oven.
Yeah.
And then they cut to him like with flames everywhere all around him. It's not matching up. It's not matching up. How did fire get in there? It ran into the mountain.
I don't know.
Oh, boy.
So, at this point, I got confused because Galena somehow frees herself and gets the vials at some point.
I don't know.
I have that exact sentence written with like a whole line of question marks behind it. So, the passengers are getting sicker and sicker. Oil freaks out and he's starting to try to throw people out of the compartment until Jacket knocks him out.
Good old Jacket.
Yeah. And that's when Mom comes in to take charge to start helping the sick, and she puts her hair up because she means business now.
That's right.
Meanwhile, JCVD is hiding in one of the many cars because there's a whole car of the train that has like cars in it.
Yeah.
And he's hiding inside of one of them. And he's on the phone with Colonel Mustard.
Which, by the way,
I
in
don't
all
know.
this back and forth of him going from the engine to the caboose to the car and all that, never checked on his family.
Nope.
More important things to do.
He gave up on his family at the get-go when he went
Yes.
to go check on Galena.
It's a self-preservation tactic. You just assume your family's dead and then get the job done.
Yeah. So he's on the phone with Colonel Mustard. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know how he knows this guy. I don't know how he got this guy's number.
Yeah, he just has a direct line to this guy at NATO.
Yeah. So he's talking to him. He lays out the whole story about what's going on with the virus, and it's on the train. It's approaching Munich. Then the thugs approach, and they shoot up the car that he's hiding in. He manages to escape just as the car explodes, because it needed to explode.
Yeah.
Then Colonel Mustard commands his troops that we need to clear the tracks and call the World Health Organization. Which, is that even a thing? I
Yes,
wanted to look that up. Okay.
Oh, yeah, World Health Organization. Yeah.
Okay. JCVD climbs up onto the top of the car again, back on the roof. He loves being on the roof.
Kicks off fresh air up there.
Yeah. Kicks one of the goons off. He's dangling down. And then JCVD finds the motorbike. Here we go. So, gets on the motorbike. Another car explodes, knocking one of the other thugs off of the train. He ramps the bike up onto the top of the train he's on, and is ramping it between the cars, moving forward on the train. As this is happening, a second train is passing by in the other direction. Now, he ramps his motorcycle from the train he's on to the opposite train coming at him and lands it safely.
That can happen.
That can happen. We've tested it out in GTA Online.
Yes. It's worked plenty of times.
So So he's on the other one. The green screen is still as top notch as it's ever been. He shoots some more of the guys off the train and ramps off of the train that he's on onto the ground. Ugh.
Holy shit.
At this point, I thought he was done. Like, I thought he was just like, I'm out.
He's gonna leave.
I'm safe.
I give up.
I
New
made
life.
it.
We cut back to the bar car. Mom is treating everyone as best she can. Mason is going through the cabin that JCVD and Galena were in when one of the goons comes in and tells him that Christoph's dead. He flew off the train on a motorcycle. There's no way he could have survived that. And so Mason
Classic
says,
mistake.
okay. Yeah, Mason says, okay, good. I trust you completely. Let's find Galena.
He's also the same guy that he told him, I want to see his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was okay that, you know.
I
look-
believe you.
Hey, look, Mason, I know you asked for his head and everything. I don't have the head, but what I do have is a very flimsy story about him flying off a train on a motorcycle, and then I'm guessing he's dead.
Right.
So, JCVD's following the motorcycle following the train on his motorcycle.
Right.
Jacket is helping out his wife as much as possible, making compresses, and then the daughter starts going into seizures. Van Damme does not care. So
He doesn't know.
he doesn't
He's
know
taking
if he did. Even if he did, he wouldn't care.
No.
People are like,
I
but is
picture a
Ethan
whole,
okay?
Yeah, is Ethan okay?
I think it's a whole Peter and Meg Griffin relationship they got going there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as she's going into seizures, Mom says that she needs ice, but Oil is too scared to bring the ice to her. But he eventually snaps out of it and helps out. And they start pouring ice on her to get her fever down. The control station of the trains is trying to get in contact with them, but no one's answering. They're trying to get them to stop the train. They manage to break the daughter's fever, and she snaps out of her seizures.
Nobody, there's no way to break a fever that fast. It's like between cuts. It's like, oh, she's got a fever, she's convulsing, and then cut to the train people, and then back to them. Fever's broken.
That's
It's
the
like-
only reason that scene existed, was to establish some time so that it's not like they poured the ice on her and she was better immediately. Because that's how they shot it.
Like. That's still what it felt like. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what it felt like.
So JCVD is still in pursuit of the train. He finds a convenient ramp where he can pop up close to the train and start to try to jump on it. As he's coming up, his family sees him through the window, and they react to seeing him. And it's only now that Mason puts two and two together that this is his family.
Right.
Not before, when he said that he was dead and they all reacted and the son gave him a death stare. That wasn't enough. Now he figures it out. JCVD, they start shooting at him. He jumps onto the train, and both he on the motorcycle and the train are going about 5 miles an hour. It's not very exciting at all.
No.
He jumps onto the train. The conductor is there to meet him, and he exclaims, "I've got to stop the train. Like, you just sped the train up." The engine. He goes through the engine room, which is still ablaze.
Yeah.
No one cares.
This is where I also had a problem. Like, where the conductor is, I assumed was at the rear of the train. I'm assuming.
Yeah, he was in the baggage car. That's where he was hiding.
Yeah, but the engine's in the front. So somewhere in the middle is the bar car, but he bypassed that no problem within minutes.
He climbed under the train like JCV did earlier with his bum leg.
I don't know what the fuck happened.
Yeah, we have no idea where any of these cars are.
No.
In what order at all.
Yeah. So he goes to the engine room. It's still on fire. Been on fire for hours.
For hours.
Mason gets on the walkie-talkie. He finally figures out the channel and tells JCVD that I've got your family. I'm holding them hostage. You need to get over here. As he's moving his way through the train, Galena pulls a gun on JCVD. And she's in hysterics. And she's pissed because, you should have just let me go on my own. None of this would have happened. Again, she's right.
She's right.
Yeah. This would have gone so much more smoothly if they would have just let her do her job.
But at the same time, you have the guy giving the countdown to when he's going to kill his family. And Jean-Claude's still finishing the conversation with this broad.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He doesn't care at all.
He's like, it's only Meg. Who cares?
Yeah. So he's like, you have to trust me. And he takes the gun from her and calms her down. She gives him the vials.
It's driving me crazy that Mason and his crew have been looking for her all over this train the whole time.
Yeah.
And he just runs into her by accident.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The
train's a straight fucking line. So, and then again, she gives him the gun, and then she gives him the vials. When did she get the fucking vials?
I don't know. It's not important at this point.
So he takes them. He says, I'm going to make things right. It's then established that the train is going to collide with another train at a T-junction on this track somewhere.
Yeah, literally the only reason we ever see this control room with the train guys is so that they can give us that piece of exposition. Yeah, and they've shown them 3 different times.
Yeah. This train is going to cross this other track while this other train is crossing at the same time. JCVD busts into the room where his family's being held hostage. They take his gun from him, and Mason proposes a deal. Go find Galena and get the vials, and I'll give you your family back. But I think I'm going to shoot your son for no reason whatsoever right now.
Yeah.
And so
it's good incentives.
Van Damme gives up those vials immediately because, it's his son. So he says, I've already got him. He hands them over. And so he says, well, what about our deal? Because it's looking like he's going to kill them all anyway. And then it happens. Ethan, who is on death's doorstep this whole time.
He's got
covered in
open sores on his face.
Open sores. He's covered in smallpox. Just roundhouse kicks Mason and sends him flying. Then JCVD gets in a little scuffle. There's a little scramble, and Ethan takes off running. Mason orders his thug to go and get the kid, and JCVD goes into the fight with Mason. Meanwhile, some random dude is trying to stop the train. Who is this guy?
I didn't pick up on this.
There's some random guy in the control room pulling on the levers. And I don't know who that's
the other train.
Oh, that's the other train.
Yeah.
Thanks, movie. Thanks for making that clear. So the other train is trying to stop as they're about to collide. JCVD's beating up Mason. The trains collide with each other. And when I say that, the train JCVD is on the track, and this other train T-bones them, splitting the train in half.
Yeah, it's just kind of like the back end of the train it gets.
Yeah, hits it. And the front end of the train is fine. They're unscathed. They don't even feel it happen.
Right.
Which I
They're
don't
still on
think
fire.
I don't think that's how train crashes work.
Yeah. Still on fire, but they're going to be fine.
I'm pretty sure everyone would have died.
They would have pulled that train right off the tracks. It would have been derailed.
So after the trains hit each other, we see the thug that went after Ethan gets kerploded. The whole train car explodes.
Right.
JCVD gets separated from Mason somehow and goes searching for Ethan. But when he gets to the back of the train's gone. And it's also now daytime. And they're in the moors of Scotland. So
I can't believe how fast it cut to morning.
Yeah, it was pitch black. Pitch black when the trains hit each other. And now it's morning. So he comes back, goes back to the bar car, and he has to break it to his wife and daughter that Ethan's gone. And then there was much sadness. And he says, okay, I gotta go now. Sorry about lying about my life for 20 years.
Meanwhile, his daughter is basically dead. He doesn't even acknowledge that she's in the room.
I don't care about basically dead. My son is dead.
Stupid Meg.
So the train's approaching Munich. Colonel Mustard scrambles some Apache attack helicopters, and they're ready to bomb this bridge that the train's going to go over with these special heat bombs that are going to burn away the virus.
Right. Which is bullshit, but I guess. Let's go.
JCVD sees all the Apaches following the train, and so he gets with the conductor and says, okay, we gotta detach the engine to try to slow us down. This is where Galena has a little heart-to-heart with the wife and explains that, Jacques' a good man. Nothing happened. I've only known him for a couple days. So, marriage saved.
Hooray!
As JCVD and the conductor are trying to split the cars, Mason busts in and kills the conductor. Sorry, conductor.
Almost made it.
As they're fighting, the cars decouple, and they're fighting in the little space between the engine and the first car.
Okay, I'm excited to hear you describe this because I didn't fucking understand what happened. But...
Oh, I've got a description for it.
Okay.
As they're fighting, Mason gets one of his legs stuck in the mechanism in the engine of the train. Okay. JCVD gets a hold of him and ties his necktie to the railing of the passenger car. And the train is slowly separating, so he's attached to both ends of the train. So JCVD gets loose of his grip, gets back in the passenger car, and closes the door. And they show Mason screaming bloody murder like he's being ripped in half. Then they cut to a shot of the engine leaving the car, and there's no body, there's no nothing. They show nothing.
I didn't get any of that.
That's what I was. I wasn't sure what I was seeing when the car pulled away.
Yeah,
I was like, "Am I supposed to see a dead body or what?"
You should have. You should have seen something.
Would have been cool. Would have been cool to see a dead body.
Yeah. He gets his foot stuck in the engine. Van Damme ties him to the other side of the train, and you're thinking he's going to get drawn and quartered by the train, but it shows nothing. You hear nothing.
There is no fucking reason to watch this movie.
He might as well have been raptured at that moment.
Yeah. He should have opened the door again, and then just the necktie is dangling there.
I was like,
still tied?
Is this like the TBS cut of the movie?
Yeah.
Like when you watch Total Recall and Richter gets his arms ripped off and it just cuts and misses that whole scene? So JCVD goes back into the train and he finds there's a big crank to turn on the brakes, and he calls for help from Jacket, who comes running to help him out. The choppers are ready to nuke the bridge as soon as the train goes over. They turn on the brakes. The engine starts to go over the bridge, and they let loose with the explosives. They blow up the bridge. The engine goes flying down and explodes. And the passenger car slowly creeps up and teeter-totters on the edge of the busted-up bridge. But it starts to go over, so JCVD instructs the crew that we got to get to the other side of the train to balance it out, speed style. as it starts, there's an explosion from below as they get to the other side, and one of the car that they're in, I guess they move to a different car because that car falls over. Yes. I don't know. And then Ethan's there.
Somehow.
Ethan's there. He went back for the pie or some shit. I don't fucking know what happened.
I don't know.
Yeah. Van Damme went from one end of that train to the other, calling his fucking name, and he was just like, where?
He went back to his room. He went back to the room that JCVD was in. Because he brought back something, and I don't know what it was. I'm assuming it was the fucking pie.
No, it was the vials. He had the vials.
Was it the vials?
Yeah. He picked up, when he kicked Mason, he grabbed the vials and ran off.
Yeah, that's what it was. You're right.
Okay, that makes more sense at least than the pie.
Can we end Can we end the movie now?
So the model train goes over the end. We fade out. Hazmat is setting up a quarantine. They're taking the passengers out of the train via ET tubes. Van Damme's saying how proud he is of Ethan, ignoring his daughter. He does eventually go over and says, "Oh, everything will be fine. Don't worry. I don't really care about you anyway." Then Mom starts bossing around the hazmat team.
Yeah.
I think they know what they're doing.
They're doctors too, lady.
Yeah. Van Damme gives them the 2 vials that made it, enough to make antidotes for everybody. Then we cut back to Oil, and he's back macking on the violin girl.
Oh my god.
Saying, "Don't worry, when we get out of this and we get all better, I'm going to buy you a new fiddle."
She's like, "You ignorant slob, it was a violin."
It's a violin, you ignorant slut. So he saunters back over to Jacket, who once again points out that he was shot down again. It's like there could have been a buddy movie between these two, but Van Damme butted into the whole scenario.
A buddy movie I have no interest in seeing.
So
this was your classic Gimli and Legolas bromance that just didn't get explored properly.
But then we get a little twist here at the end, where Jacket reveals that the girlfriend that he's been pursuing is the woman in the fucking hazmat suit.
Yep.
What a stupid subplot.
What a stupid fucking sub. I never cared when he was talking about it the first time, and I still don't care now.
So now Lars is there. He shows up. He's in a hazmat suit. Meets up with JCVD, and JCVD confronts him and says, "So how much were you going to get for the bioweapon?" And so he accuses Lars of setting him up and working with Mason. And Lars is like, "I don't know what you're talking about." He's like, "Well, how did they know what car we were in then, Lars?" And he punches out Lars and tells Colonel Mustard to arrest him. And he does. So that happened.
With pleasure, he says.
With pleasure.
On the word of some guy.
Yep.
Everybody knew what car they were in.
It reminded me of the end of Shark Lake, where they arrest the bad guy conveniently.
Yeah.
Well, I figured I wasn't going to go into my whole probable cause rant because they wasn't in the United States, so I decided to leave it there. But believe me, my ears perked up at first. I was like, "Oh no!" But then I was like, well, Slovakia. What you gonna do?
Yeah. Well, also he's telling some general to arrest this guy.
Yeah, he doesn't have the authority.
So he's then walking with his wife, and he says, "Have I ever told you how much I love you?" And she says, "No, because you're an asshole."
Not since I caught you with that prostitute.
Yeah. So, and then he asks, "Well, where's Galena?" And it's just, "Oh, she'll turn up somewhere." And another iris out.
Which, first off, why ask your wife where's the woman at who she firmly believes you are cheating with?
Yeah,
because
just never bring her up again.
Yeah, if that'd be a real conversation, where's Galena? Why you want to know about that bitch?
Yeah,
Like,
because the wife has no idea what else played out on the plane. She was in the bar car the whole time.
she has no clue.
She still thinks, yeah.
Keep calling it a plane.
You did just call it a plane.
You've called it a plane at least twice.
God damn.
That's how bad this movie was. You don't even know.
So it irises out. We cut
To be fair, trains are just really long planes.
They're just flightless planes.
They're the Kiwis of the transportation world.
That's going to be a shirt. Trains are just flightless planes. And so it irises out. We cut to Galena breaking into another safe, and she takes out some jewels, and then it fades to black. What the fuck was that ending?
So,
And then
she's not.
Wait. And then the best fucking thing happens. This movie has a rap theme song.
Yes.
Its own rap theme song.
Like Deep Blue fucking Sea.
Which I listen to all the way because once again I go look for stingers every single time.
Yeah.
The very first word is derailed.
Yes.
Derailed.
As soon as I heard that, I was like,
I wrote a bunch of it down. It was derailed. Hey, yo, peep this. Can you keep a secret? I can't believe this. Situations I go through just to keep this family alive. Mission completed. It's like, what the fuck am I listening to?
It's from the perspective of...
Yes, it is.
pretty accurate.
Survived another 48 hours undercover. Couldn't tell my lover because God only knows that I love her too much.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's fucking crazy.
So they gave this dude an advanced copy of the movie and he wrote a fucking song to it.
Yes.
Well, at least one person fucking got it.
I gotta listen to the rest of it and find out, how they interpreted what happened in this thing.
Well, have fun, because I'm done with this fucking dreck.
Well, you're not done yet, because we got to do some questions.
Let's do it, because I'm ready.
It is quiz time, folks.
I'm ready to watch Twisted Justice.
I'm going to be asking 5 questions. They're going to answer them. Whoever wins, we get to watch their movie. If John wins, Twisted Justice. If Blake wins, it's Mosquito. Let's get this going. Now, one of my questions was talked about, so I got to pivot a little bit.
Okay.
So I'll delete this one. I'll just have to pick one. Okay. You guys ready?
Yep.
Okay. Question 1. Which room did they switch to when they arrived on the train? Question 2. Where does Bob Sterling work? AKA, where does oil work?
Like a state or a company?
The company.
Oh, damn it. I remember him saying it. I can't remember what the fuck. Jesus Christ. Here we go.
Question 3. When was smallpox eradicated?
That was in the movie?
Yes.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Question 4. The goon that was controlling the train tells another goon to alert him when the train slows to a certain speed. What speed was it?
Oh my god.
It's not 17 knots.
No, but I think I know that one because I tried to commit that to memory too. I think I got that one.
Okay, now I gotta pivot a little bit.
Okay.
What was the original room they were assigned to?
Oh my god.
Are we watching Mosquito?
Uh-oh.
Probably.
Uh-oh. Okay, pencils down.
I think I got 3 of them.
I don't know.
Okay, So we're gonna find out right now. Okay, which room did they switch to on the train?
1B.
I had 5B.
It is 1B.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Blake is up to an early lead. Question
We're gonna
2.
watch mosquitoes do it.
Question 2. Where does Bob Sterling work?
I have no clue.
I put Standard Oil.
Alexis Oil.
Yeah. Well,
So nobody gets that one. Question 3. The goon that was controlling the train tells another goon to alert him when the train slows to a certain speed. What speed was it?
that wasn't question 3.
It wasn't? When was smallpox eradicated?
I put 1936 because I have no clue.
It was 1973.
1973. We're tied up.
Oh no.
Okay, goon controlling train tells goon 2, tell me when we slow down to this speed. What speed was it?
40 kilometers.
I don't know.
40 kilometers.
Jesus.
2-1. All right, this is it.
It's a show.
Which room were they initially assigned to on the train?
That would be 2C.
I put 3C. God damn it.
It's 2C. Holy shit, we're watching Mosquito.
Oh my god. It was so, dude, like, because when the room number, I was like, remember the room numbers. Like, I knew that was coming.
Like I said, I watched this thing over the course of 4 sittings. I couldn't pay attention to it. It was killing me.
Yeah.
Killing me.
I had to drop the question, what was the main component of the virus?
Okay.
Smallpox. Because John just had to go back to it. I tried to skip over it.
Right.
Wow.
My
I think we
other
both would have got that one.
you want to hear my other questions just for the shits of it?
Yeah.
Sure.
How much money was JCVD bringing to Galena?
It was
50,000.
Yeah, $50,000. What number is the train that they're on?
681.
Yeah, 681.
The 681.
However, the train was not marked 681
No.
Well, you
because I
can't
made
expect
notes.
it.
I made notes of that too. Let me.
Yeah.
I gotta pull everything back out. Hold on. Because I wrote it down. Yeah, the train was marked 6118.
Well, I didn't pay attention to that. Yeah. My really difficult question that I decided not to do was, we all know that Angus Riley, aka Jacket, was searching for his girlfriend. He mentions that she took this exact train. How much earlier did she take that train?
Was it 5 weeks?
It was 3 weeks.
Oh, I remembered her name though.
Oh
I
my
don't remember her
god.
name. I don't even
Petra.
know her name.
It was Petra.
Whatever. It's over.
We're watching awkward sex scenes again.
With giant insects.
Gross.
Ay. Well, that's gonna be fun.
Man.
It seems that I'm John's kryptonite.
I know. I feel like we're paying attention to just different stuff, and you're more in, in the headspace that Chase is in.
Yeah,
That might be it.
we've been doing this for a while.
Well, I no longer want to quit anymore.
This also means Blake is in control again.
Oh god.
So-
Well, get that Van Damme, please, ready.
What could happen? What could happen? This is an actual movie, right? This isn't Swamp Ape again.
No, this is an actual movie.
Okay, good. But it is a YouTube only.
I mean, you can get it on Amazon, but you got to pay for it.
Nah.
But you can watch it for free on YouTube.
Yay. Well,
So
folks,
if you want to get it on Amazon, you can.
Well, that is it for us tonight. Blake is victorious once again. I think that puts you ahead. Yeah, because we've all won one, and now you've won two.
I'm not saying anything because I know how quickly that can go to shit.
Yeah. So Blake's in the lead. We will be watching Mosquito next. Yeah. And we will see you next week for Coming Attractions, where John and I will be back at it. I'm more than likely going to bring another JCVD movie to the table. I'm just going to go ahead and say that now because there's several that I want to see. As usual, check us out on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Garbage Theater. Check us out on Twitter at @garbage_theater. And subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play. You'll get all our episodes as soon as they go live, usually on Sundays. And we will see you next week.